Good evening, and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development, 2015 to 2030. (2025) commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 78 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat at 2047. As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations and celebrations. Today, on 1st December, it is commemorated every year as World AIDS Day. In 2025, funding cuts and reductions from key donors shocked the global AIDS response. This World AIDS Day 2025, UNAIDS released a new report showing how these disruptions unfolded and the resilience of communities and countries protecting the progress. Overcoming disruption and transforming the AIDS response is the theme for 2025. In 2025, a historic funding crisis is threatening to unravel decades of progress. HIV prevention services are severely disrupted. Community-led services vital to reaching marginalized populations are being deprioritized, while the rise in punitive laws criminalizing same-sex relationships, gender identity, and drug use is amplifying the crisis, making HIV services inaccessible. So the global AIDS response has been upended in recent months, but there is still much more to be done in achieving the SDG target of ending AIDS by 2030. AIDS is not over, and given today's environment, a new transformative approach is needed to mitigate risks and help us reach our targets. Countries must make radical shifts to HIV programming and funding. The global HIV response cannot rely on domestic sources alone. The international community must come together to bridge the financial gap, support countries to close the remaining gaps in HIV prevention and treatment services, remove legal and social barriers, and empower communities to lead the way forward. So this World AIDS Day, join us in calling for sustainable political leadership, international cooperation, and human rights centered approaches to end AIDS by 2030. Over the years, a detailed understanding of HIV epidemic has emerged through the collection, analysis, and dissemination of data, helping programs to reach the right people in the right place and at the right time. Having high quality data on AIDS response has enabled ambitious, measurable, and time bound targets to be set for tracking progress and ensuring accountability. So, participate in the year's World AIDS Day by using the various platforms to show the world that it's time to end AIDS. As the theme has set for the year, World AIDS Day is overcoming disruption and transforming the AIDS response. The commemoration of World AIDS Day, which takes place on 1st December 2025, is an important opportunity to highlight the impact that the funding cuts from international donors have had on the response of AIDS, as well as to showcase the resilience of countries and communities stepping up to protect the gains made and the drive the HIV response forward. In 2025, a historic funding crisis is threatening to unravel decades of progress. HIV prevention services are severely disrupted. Community-led services vital to reaching marginalized populations are being deprioritized, while the rise in punitive laws criminalizing same-sex relationships, gender identity, and drug use is amplifying the crisis, making HIV inaccessible. So the global AIDS response has been upended in recent months, but there is still much more to be done to achieve SDG target of ending AIDS by 2030. AIDS is not over, and given today's environment, a new transformative approach is needed to mitigate risks and help us reach our targets. Countries must take radical shifts to HIV programming and funding. The global HIV response cannot rely on domestic resources alone. The international community must come together to bridge the financing gap, support countries to close remaining gaps in HIV prevention and treatment services, remove legal and social barriers, and empower communities to lead the way forward. Political leadership is paramount to advancing policies that address structural inequalities and protect vulnerable populations. Transformative solutions are needed to improve access to HIV services, eliminate stigma and discrimination once and for all, and ensure the protection of rights for women, girls, LGBTQ people who continue to face disproportionate barriers in accessing healthcare. In a time of crisis, the world must choose transformation over retreat, said Mr. Bianim. Together, we can still end AIDS as a public health threat by 2030 if we act with urgency, unity, and unwavering commitment. So, this World's AIDS Day, join us in calling for the sustainable political leadership, international cooperation, and human rights centered approaches to end AIDS by 2030. UNAIDS releases its 2025 World's AIDS Day report, Overcoming Disruption, Transforming the AIDS Response. The 2025 funding crisis has thrown the AIDS response into turmoil with massive disruptions of HIV prevention and community led services, particularly for the most vulnerable. However, the new report by UNAIDS shows evidence that resilience, investment, and innovation, combined with global solidarity, still offer a path to end AIDS. The global response to HIV has suffered its most significant setback in decades, warns a new UNAIDS report released today ahead of World AIDS Day 2025. Overcoming disruption, transforming the AIDS response details the far-reaching consequences of international funding reductions and lack of global solidarity would send shockwaves through low and middle income countries heavily affected by HIV. Today is also commemorated as Crohn's and Colitis Awareness Week from December 1st to 7th. Every year aims to educate people about the symptoms, causes, and ways to manage Crohn's disease and colitis. So the main reason for it raising awareness is because the symptoms are quite common and are easily confused with other diseases and medical problems, resulting in peace not receiving the right medical treatment in time. Those afflicted face many problems relating to gastrointestinal tract, which reduces their physical activity and overall quality of life. Crohn's and Colitis Awareness Week is observed to support and encourage those who are diagnosed with the disease. Crohn's disease involves the inflammation of one's gastrointestinal tract. Ulcerative colitis is similar inflammatory condition that affects the colon and large intestine. Crohn's disease and colitis are commonly known as inflammatory bowel disease. For years, not much research was conducted on Crohn's colitis. English physicians Wilkes and Moxon were the first ones to study colitis. Crohn's disease was discovered by Dr. Beryl B. Crohn, Leon Ginsberg, and Gordon D. Oppenheim. They researched 14 patients who were experiencing symptoms such as severe abdominal cramps, chronic diarrhea, and sudden weight loss. After conducting in-depth research on these symptoms, the doctors named the disease regional colitis. The name after was later changed to Crohn's disease. After the discovery of Crohn's disease and colitis, much research still needed to minimize the symptoms. During the 1950s, when a woman in her 20s named Susan Rosenthal experienced severe abdominal pain and fever, doctors failed to diagnose her illness. The symptoms worsened until doctors were finally able to diagnose her illness, and she was suffering from Crohn's disease. And since no treatment was readily available to cure her symptoms, Susan, together with her husband, started an organization to create awareness about Crohn's disease. During the same period, a young boy named Michael was also suffering from Crohn's disease. He and Susan received treatment at the Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City and worked together to collect funds for research and development of Crohn's disease. Today is also commemorated as bifocals at the Monitor Liberation Day on December 1st. We encourage presbyopes to eschew computers and blurry images and remind people everywhere to get their eyes checked. Working on the computer can be quite the hassle for people wearing bifocals. It requires constant effort to figure out which one of the two lenses is more effective while looking at the monitor. Bifocal lenses are designed with two focal points, one to view objects at a distance and other to view nearer objects. Adjusting vision with bifocals tend to strain one's eyes, causing muscle fatigue. Bifocals at the Monitor Liberation Day was created by actor Thomas Roy and his wife Ruth. The duo owns a herb and all-day business and aims to spread goodwill and myth among public accordingly. Bifocals liberation puts emphasis on being kind to people who wear bifocals while working or reading on computers. To get the correct focus while reading on screen, users are forced to continually tilt their heads in and out, up and down. This sometimes causes neck pain, headaches, and even dizziness. The bifocals liberation holiday is a day when people who don't wear bifocals Empathize with those who do not struggle with a dual vision impairment. Acknowledging their struggle is a way to tell them they are not alone and they are there if you need your help. Besides recognizing your co-workers' efforts, it's an opportunity to get your own eyes checked. Regarding vision can be early sign of other health problems. You can prevent these issues by visiting your eye specialist yearly. You can also do a few simple self-care tips to protect your eyes, such as regulating your screen brightness per your need, adjusting your font settings, and after all, it doesn't cost a dime to take the basic precautions to maintain the health of your eyes. Progressive lenses are an upgrade of bifocals having no dividing lines. So, so while bifocals come in the form of contact lenses, they work better as hard contacts, and at times they might not provide clear vision and can be quite tricky to fit into your eye. In most cases, women's bifocals are smaller compared with men's purely for aesthetics, as fashion comes first in gender in design. For a large number of people, vision changes aren't a surprise, as most of them change their bifocal prescriptions every 2 years as your vision alters with age. Unlike with your regular pair of goggles, it might take some time before you adjust to the bifocals. However, with regular use, you should be fine in a week. The essence of this day lies in showing empathy towards your co-workers who wear bifocals. While spending hours on our computers, we often forget that our eyes needs a power nap too. This bifocals at the Mountain Liberation Day, let's all be grateful to our eyes and give them their much deserved rest. Most people with normal eyesight aren't aware of the discomfort and inconveniences of wearing a pair of bifocals. This is to raise awareness among people. But use of bifocals, let's do it then. Today is also commemorated as Day Without Art Day, coinciding with World AIDS Day since its inception in America in 1989. This day has marked the impact of the AIDS epidemic on the artistic community and documented efforts in fighting AIDS. On this day, artists and art institutions shut their doors, dim the lights, and shroud their works, replacing them with posters and facts about AIDS. Other screen films and documentaries for audiences online and in theaters. Day Without Art is also a day of mourning, as memorials are a standard part of proceedings. Visual Aids, an organization founded in 1988 by Robert Atkins, writer and art critic, and the three curators, Gray Garrels, Thomas Sokolsky, and William Olander, introduced this observation. Visual aids brought together the arts and aids communities through national projects. Day Without Art was one of these projects. It was envisioned as a day of mourning and action involving hundreds of art organizations and institutions in a rallying call to display the power of art in raising awareness. Over 800 art galleries, museums, and institutions in the US covered up their displays, replacing them with posters, educating people with HIV and safe sex. Artists and curators conducted memorials and reading, including visual arts exhibitions and performances. They celebrated the achievements and lives of colleagues and friends they had lost to AIDS, encouraging better care for patients and support to discover a cure. Today is also commemorated as National Women Support Women Day. in US on December 1st. This day allows us all to join together and build upon previous generations' hard work and determination. Women for Women is a powerful cliche, but the day is an opportunity that should not be missed. Whether you believe in having a day to focus on only women in the world or that gender should have no limits, you should use this day and make the most of it. If you want to help other women in your life, use this day to let them know you will be there for them, even others don't. For many years, far too many women have lived alone their entire lives, and this means they were left to fend for themselves. This day was created to remind women that they are not alone in their struggles and they have the support of other women. So, December 1st has been long recognized as an important day for the women to celebrate themselves, and each year in the US, the first observance of International Women's Day occurred on February 28, 1909, when 15,000 women marched through New York City demanding shorter hours and better pay. In 1911, they marched again and demanded voting rights and to end to violence against women. Today, women still march in cities worldwide each year to fight for equality, justice, and peace for all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or gender identity. The United Nations General Assembly began celebrating March 8th as International Women's Day in 1975. Furthermore, it became an official holiday celebrated in almost 101 countries worldwide in 2014. In 2018, National Women Support Women Day was created by the Amy O'Donnell because she wanted to create an annual event that would pay tribute to influential women for their accomplishments in the arts, politics, business, and other fields. It was chosen to coincide with National Women's Day, observed since February 28, 1909. Today is also commemorated as Prisoners for Peace Day. The fight for peace is highlighted on the Prisoners for Peace Day, which is observed on December 1st. People around the world are reminded of the fearless efforts people undergo to preserve peace and avoid war by all means. This day was created by War Resisters International, in short known as WRI, to honor the efforts of those who have risked their freedom in the fight against war. This anti war organization has gained the likes of many people from across the world and has reached affiliation in around 30 countries. This day seeks to encourage anti war supporters to keep on fighting and aims to allow a safe place for people to voice their opinions on unfair imprisonment. Today, we are shedding light on those who have wrongfully imprisoned simply for choosing peace instead of war. They are people who choose to fight against war and are not afraid to be imprisoned for it. Prisoners of peace are individuals who have been imprisoned either due to their objections to joining the military or those who take action in disrupting possible war preparations. Across the world, in countries like Israel, South Korea, and Eritrea, people are imprisoned simply because of their grounded stance against the war. So, Prisoners for Peace Day seeks to highlight the lives of these individuals and stir up a global uprising against the issue and war at large. These individuals can be known as war resistors. The title war resistor has been in existence since World War I. With people coming together to fight against the war. The major organization that led the fight was the War Resisters International. The WRI is an international anti-war organization that is headquartered in London. Today is also commemorated as State Inauguration Day in Nagaland in India, which is observed on December 1st each year. This day signifies the integration of 14 tribes into a single political entity. The Naga people, who have long struggled to attain independence from British rule, they achieved success when they demanded an independent homeland and were granted statehood by India under the State of Nagaland Act. It followed a period of violence and political turmoil in the state between the Naga people and the government. The British administration has first attempted the integration of tribes into a single territorial entity. However, they were only marginally successful as most villages remained outside government control. In 1961, the territory was placed under the Nagaland Transitional Provisions Regulation. This law provided for an interim body consisting of 45 members to be elected by tribes according to their customs, traditions, and usage. Then in 1962, after the State of Nagaland Act was passed by Parliament, Nagaland became a state. The interim government of Nagaland was dissolved on November 30, 1963, and the state of Nagaland was officially inaugurated on December 1st, 1963. Kohima was named the capital city. The first democratically elected Nagaland Legislative Assembly was constituted on February 11, 1964, after the elections in January 1964. The Naga rebels' activities continued in many areas of Burma and India. Ceasefires were announced and negotiations continued, but the violence did not stop. After the imposition of direct rule in March 1975, some leaders of most significant rebellion groups agreed to lay down their arms and accept the constitution, while a small group did not agree and continued their insurgent activity. Today is also commemorated as Indigenous Faith Day in Arunachal Pradesh in India, celebrated every year on December 1st to safeguard and promote all indigenous faiths across the state. In so doing, the day honors unique identities of the people of beautiful and lush northeastern Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh to preserve the diverse traditional faith and practices of various tribal communities. The day is often celebrated with pomp and merriment as the rapidly modernizing state tries to keep its traditions and customs alive. Arunachal Pradesh is also called as the land of dawn-lit mountains in the state of northeastern India. The state is popularly believed to have existed since the prehistoric days of Ramayana, Mahabharata, and different other sacred mythologies. These historical characters of Lord Parshuram, King Bhimaska, Bhismaka, and Princess Rukmini is also said to be from this region. Between 500 BC and 600 AD, the northwestern parts of Arunachal Pradesh were ruled by Mompa Kingdom of Monul, and the rest of the state shared control between local chiefdoms and Chutia kings of Assam. Subsequently, the northern region was controlled by Bhutan and Tibet, while the other parts were governed by Assamese. The Simla Accord was negotiated by the representatives of Tibet, China, and Britain in the year 1913 and 1914. This treaty drew a boundary of 550 miles, also now famously known as McMahon Line, between the India and Tibet. However, this border was not acknowledged by China even after 2 decades of Simla Conference. Arunachal Pradesh was founded in the Northeast Frontier Agency, NIFA region, in 1954, and Sino-Indian relations were cordial until 1960. But a resurgence of the border disagreement led to the tragic Sino-Indian War in 1962. During the war, China captured most of the Arunachal Pradesh, but no sooner they had declared victory and did they withdraw to the original McMahon land and returned Indian prisoners of war in 1963. The Union Territory of Arunachal Pradesh was established when the region was renamed in 1972, and it wasn't until 1987 that was renamed in 1972, and it wasn't until 1987 that the region gained its statehood, making it India's 24th state. So we have other states commemorations. Independence Day today, like Portugal Independence Day on December 1st in Portugal. The country achieved its independence from Spain in 1668. This day commemorates the reinstatement of sovereignty after the period of Spanish rule between 1580 and 1640. Since then, Portugal has emerged as a colonial power and successfully colonized countries in Asia and Africa. Portugal Independence Day is a public holiday in the country and all schools and business stay shut. The day is celebrated with great fanfare in the country. People gather to sing, dance, attend carnivals, and attend patriotic events. Today, Portugal has emerged as an important center for sports and tourism. It is also commemorated as Romania Independence Day in Romania, observed on every December 1st. The National Day of Romania has been celebrated on May 10th, August 23, and finally December 1st at different periods in the past. It was celebrated on May 10th to commemorate Prince Carol of Hohenzollern and Sigmarin's oath on behalf of United Princedoms of Romania, proclaiming the independence of Romania as state before the parliament in 1866. August 23 marked the popular revolution in which Romania turned their weapons against Nazi Germany, while Transylvania, Bennett, Crisana, and Marmuz joined Romania to become one country on December 1st, 1980, marking the reversion of their Independence Day to this day. Today is also commemorated as Kazakhstan's first President's Day on December 1st annually, commemorating the conduction of country's first presidential elections after the fall of Soviet Union. It is usually a government declared public holiday that would still be observed on the next working day should the day fall on weekend. The constitution Kazakhstan was amended by its parliament on two occasions to allow the first democratically elected president to stay longer in office. Today is also commemorated as Freedom and Democracy Day in Chad on December 1st to commemorate the overthrow of Hussein Sabri reign of torture by Idris Deby in 1990. It also marks the day of Deby rose to power when he became the president of Chad. Deby took power by leading a coup d'etat against tyrannical former president Hissni Habre in December 1990. He also survived several rebellions and attempted coups against his own rule. This general population takes the day off when the schools and business stays closed. Today is also commemorated as Commemoration Day on December 1st in UAE, known as Mattress Day, observed annually in the United Arab Emirates. On December 1st, the day is set aside to remember, recognize, and honor sacrifices of and patriotism of Emirati martyrs who gave their lives to the military, civil, and humanitarian work in the UAE. First commemorated in 2015, the day has been observed every year on November 30 until in 2019 when the date was changed to December 1st. Today is also commemorated as Central African Republic Day. Every year on December 1st to commemorate the anniversary of CAR becoming an autonomous territory within the French community in 1958. The CAR was granted independence on this day, although region was still part of the French African Empire. It is a public holiday for general population with schools and business closing for the day. Celebrate this important and historic day by exploring the rich heritage and immersing yourself in the country's culture. Today is also commemorated as National Peppermint Bark Day. The once a year favorite is crafted using white chocolate layered with custom blended dark chocolate. The bark is finished with a snowfall of peppermint candy pieces. The result is an unforgettable holiday confection with a perfect harmony of flavors and textures in every bite. Traditionally, peppermint bark is made of with dark or milk chocolate topped with a layer of white chocolate and finished with crushed peppermint candies. The easy to make festive dessert to bring synonymous and other winter holidays. The treat rise in popularity also coincided with an increase in seasonal flavored products as companies capitalize on the demand of festival themed foods and treats. Today is also commemorated as Eat a Red Apple Day on December 1st, honoring our teachers' favorite desk taker and our doctors' best time honored heart healthy snack, all in one crisp bite. Humans have been enjoying this sweet and delicious self contained snack each autumn when this scrumptious fruit is harvested. It fills our local grocery stores and community festivals with glee, whether we are bobbing for them or baking them into a pie or stashing one into a bag for a pick me up later, or we just can't get enough of the red apples. The old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, which originated in Pembrokeshire, Wales, seems to have crossed the Atlantic in 1860s to arrive here in America. What used to be a simply an old age was confirmed by doctors in 2010. Today is also commemorated as National Package Protection Day, celebrated on Wednesday following Thanksgiving Day, which is December. Also, first seeks to encourage consumers across the US to become more mindful about the packages they order during this holiday season. The more people raise awareness about this day, the more people will prevent their packages from being stolen, delivered, or to wrong address or lost in transit. And any financial loss due to these mishaps would be prevented. And finally, today we are also commemorating National Cookie Cutter Week from December 1st to 7th, as we are more excited to celebrate. After all, that there are not best made at home, wondering just how to bake perfectly shaped, wonder no more, having fun baking and using cookie cutters. If you have never used one, now is your chance to learn how to give cute shapes to your cookies. With cookie cutters, you can use them the extra dough instead of throwing it away. Don't worry if you don't have any fancy cookie cutters. The simplest of the shapes can be styled to create versatile designs. For instance, a tiny circle can be shaped like a moon, a smiley face, a football, a daisy, or a Santa, or any figure. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us in today's commemorations and celebrations. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form that has been raised in the form of votes. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. Take care. Good night.